And welcome, everybody. We are live back again for another episode of the Unblinded Real Raw. My name's Fernando, and for everyone tuning in, first of all, thank you. We're grateful. We have some amazing contestants, a couple judges, and a role play here today. And if you're wondering, what's going on? What am I doing? What am I going to watch for the next 60 minutes? Let's explain briefly. So what's going to happen at the beginning is that we're going to show what it looks like to truly build emotional rapport between strangers, some people that might know each other, and dynamics of acknowledgement and validation. And then we kick it into the fun part, is when we jump into our influence off. We're going to display that influence is a superpower. It's present here, and chances are you can learn a little bit about it too. And the person that makes this all happen, driver and host, co-founder of Unblinded, Sean Calgi. What's happening, man?
Yeah, no, I'm present too today. Gratitude. There's some amazing people, David and Lucas, present for today with really impressive backgrounds. Psyched to have Josh as our role player and our judges. But Vivian, let's introduce these fine folks and get it rolling.
Wow, I'm liking your Zeus energy today, Sean. We have Lucas Root, 17 years, led numerous operations, teams on Wall Street mergers and acquisitions, began his own consulting business, and left his corporate job. Lucas works with strong brands and a well-funded great idea who do not know how to execute. In 2019, launched his speaking and business mentoring. Since then, he's had the opportunity to speak to numerous audiences across the world. His recent professionals talks have addressed working from home, specifically building the skills, routines, and tool sets into your day to create and sustain productivity in whatever you do. So welcome, Lucas.
Lucas, welcome. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I'm really excited to join. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. And Lucas, were you, I think I heard this, and forgive me if I'm incorrect, were you with Credit Suisse at one point?
I was with Credit Suisse at one point. I spent about 6 years working with them.
Awesome. So my study partner from law school, my best friend from law school, was their general counsel, Pete Kozlowski, for quite a while. So he's just a dear friend, great guy, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Awesome. Again, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And Vivian, who else we have?
We have David Rush. David Rush brings extensive experience across the financial industry, including positions at Greenwich Associates, Bear Stearns, JP Morgan, Chase, and Bank of China. David developed expertise and broad product market knowledge across the fixed income spaces. Most recently, he directed his career towards risk management with specific focus on reputation, strategic and enterprise risk governance. At Templar, his clients include Credit Suisse, HSBC, Bank of China, Blackstone, Evercore, and Lazard. In addition to his financial background, David brings years of experience in his personal and professional growth, training, and development industry. This includes 2 years coaching at a high-level performance leadership program, public speaker training, and improvisational comedy. Bring on the fun, David.
Great to be here. I love Vivian's energy, and that introduction was beautiful.
David, welcome. And I know that you're connected to, or acquainted with, friends with, all the above, David Gonzalez. So I appreciate David sharing this moment and having you here. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and Sean, quickly, I just want to highlight that your love for hockey is a love of mine as well, and surfing. So I've just enjoyed listening to all your tales and anecdotes around it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much, brother. Appreciate it. So looking forward to getting to dive in even deeper. And so Vivian and David and Lucas, we have some amazing assessors, judges, and to be present, what we're really doing here is we're demonstrating the concept that no matter where we are in our master, there's always higher levels, and has exponential importance. The difference between Oprah and somebody who has a 5-year beautiful show running on television is microscopic. Like to the naked eye, it would look like nothing was different. And these microscopic distinctions that lead to people achieving the outcomes they want and don't, particularly rooted in the space of influence, is our critical exploration here. So again, thank you, fine gentlemen, for your contributions, your vulnerability, and all that great stuff. And Vivian, we have some great judges.
Yes, we do. We have Brian Williamson, and I think you may know him. Personally won over 50 civil trials and as many arbitrations in the 7 years of legal practice. He's a business lit attorney at Kalicki Law. That's why you would know him. He's a huge Star Wars fan on top of it all, people. And he's decorated most of his house with Star Wars paraphernalia. And he says that his wife agreed with that. I need to talk to your wife. Background in musical theater, including opera, and love to sing, shows tunes and opera for his daughters, and his favorite is Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance.
Ryan, welcome. Well, from Phoenix, Arizona, brother, and 50 civil trials, and in a relatively short period. What do you think that did to accelerate your influencing skill sets, your integrity-based influencing skill sets?
Well, Sean, first of all, it's great to be here, and I'm so glad to get to meet this group of people. The experience of getting to do so many trials really helped boost my confidence in front of people, and coming from a background in theater, it really was allowing me to take my presentation and my desire to be on stage into just a new stage, which is the courtroom, and get to learn how to connect with people on an emotional level when they aren't walking in with the idea in mind that they want to be emotionally transported. Because when you walk into a theater, you walk into to watch a movie, you're looking at this thing, okay, I want this to impact me. I want to feel something from this. When you walk into a court, people are not thinking that at all. They're thinking, okay, let's get through this. What are they going to tell me? Let's figure out the facts. And when you actually start connecting with them emotionally and you transport them in that moment, it can be powerful. And the results that it gets are amazing. As Vivian said, 50 civil trials, I've lost only 3. One of them, my key witness didn't turn up. So, what can you do? So I think I've been doing pretty good so far, and looking to do even more here at Cal Law, and I'm going to have a lot of fun with you guys today.
All right. Awesome job, brother. Welcome. Vivian.
We have the man in the lobster. His name is Mike Walsh. He's wearing a shirt with lobsters on it, and we were talking about the movie, so I had to. So he has 3 years of Catholic seminary, entered the sales world, and eventually built success sales teams in 3 specific verticals: D2D, commercial B2B, and over the phone. Recently came across the Unblinded movement and is passionate about integrity-based human influence. His first name is not actually Michael, which he's going to explain, and he studied Latin and will sometimes make fake Latin words up. So what is my name in Latin?
Vivianum.
Mike, it's a pleasure.
It's not supposed to be funny. That's only funny to people I went to college with.
Mike, how are you doing?
I'm really good, Sean. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What is your real name?
So my dad's name was Patrick, but my parents wanted to call me Michael, but they didn't like how Michael Patrick sounded. So they went with Patrick Michael, but they called me Michael my whole life. So now I can't find myself when I do healthcare or my taxes or anything because I'm under different names the whole way. So
that resonates because my dad's name is John Robert, and everybody called him Bobby in the family after his middle name because his dad was John as well. So yes,
it became irrelevant. His first name just kind of faded. Yeah.
Present to that reality, brother. And thank you for being here. Where are you physically in the world?
I'm in Edmonton. I'm in Ellerslie, the lower part of Edmonton, Alberta, right now.
Well, welcome, Mike. And
thanks for having me, Sean.
Thank you, brother. Last but certainly not least,
we have, I believe, Dr. Antoine Chevalier. Is he around? Though I don't see him.
Yeah, but he's not on yet. So let's drop the intro quickly, and then he can jump on if he jumps on a little later.
I can also describe Joshua, right, as a role player.
Please, of course.
So Joshua, hello there, is the founder and managing director of Dynasty Media, is a privately held firm focused on operating, advising, and managing established media, sports, and entertainment business with revenues that range from 10 million to over 10 billion. Woo! The company sources, qualifies, and engages in ventures where undervalued content and distribution opportunities exist. Among other valuable considerations, Joshua created The Greatest in partnership with Time Inc. and subsequently launched the 100 Greatest Moments in Sports with Sports Illustrated, as well as partnering with Forbes and its Under 30 franchise. Moreover, he led a bid to acquire Sports Illustrated with Tony Robbins, Avery, and several other notable investors, and is currently a partner with Success Resources, the world's global leader in inspirational and aspirational content. So welcome, Joshua.
Thanks for having me.
Josh, how are you?
Amazing, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing amazing and appreciative for your being here. And I'm presuming you're out on the left coast.
I'm on the left coast, and and just for a little kibitz here, what are the skates in the picture behind you? Is that the Miracle on Ice?
Yeah. So we got real quick is we have the jersey 80 signed by every player in the team, and those are the skates. signed by a pair of skates signed by everybody in the team as well up there. So some.
So this is so crazy. A guy, he runs a large talent agency in Hollywood, gave me the stick signed by every player. So I'll give it to you. It's sitting in the garage somewhere. It's gonna look better up on your wall than it is on mine. I just have to find it for you. My pleasure.
Josh, I appreciate that and appreciate
No
you.
sweat.
Yeah, and if I may, since we just, for a nanosecond, because you asked and shared, you see the skis up there, Josh?
Yeah.
So those skis were my uncle. They are a little bit interesting, right? They're like multicolored. They were my Uncle Jimmy, who was the first person in my family to go to college. That nobody in the direct family line did, and my parents didn't. And he went as the son of my grandfather, who was blind, the same eye condition that I have. He went on to go to the worst medical school in the continental U.S. At the time was University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. Okay. And because he wanted to get in a retina and knew he couldn't, he went and dissected eyeballs for a summer. And as a medical student, created a breakthrough in our eye condition, isolated one of the first isolations of the gene, spoke in front of massive ophthalmological groups across the country, turned down Harvard and Johns Hopkins, and went out on the left coast in your fun state of California to Jules Stein into their residency program. He got there, the head of residency said, "You don't belong here. I didn't know how you got in." And he ended up graduating #1 for it and had an incredible career.
Awesome.
So thank you for acknowledging the wall, and that just made me bring it up. So thanks, Josh, and I appreciate the beautiful gift of the stick.
I got to find it. I promise I will, but I'll get it to you. It belongs in your room.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So thank you for the patience and what we're chatting about. So Vivian, we have beautiful things to do with Josh. And so David and Lucas, to bring up to speed, the way the format works is, and I want to be clear, because this is the Unblinded Real Raw, and we're not seeking a sale. It doesn't have to be a sale. It's a yes that matters in the world. So just yesterday, one of the contestants said, "Hey, I'd like the role player to be Donald Trump." And it turned out to be one of the greatest Real Raws ever. It started out in fun, and it became unbelievable. And I'm not saying to do that. It could be you selling an investment, your company, recruiting somebody, a book deal, a movie deal, anything you want that's a yes in the world, whatever is simple or fun and creative, to explore the ability to influence across a 6-minute conversation. The first half is 3 minutes long. It's the opening of rapport and connecting and putting something at stake. And Josh is then going to have a phone call in the middle and say, "I'll be right back." You're not obligated in any way to say, to set up the second call. The second call is automatic. Josh is I'll be right back. We'll talk in a minute. The second half of the call is where you share your or the identity of your product or service or both and move forward towards the yes. And the yes could simply be more time for a longer meeting. So this is really about authenticity. This doesn't work if it shows up as salesmanship and salesiness. This does work as depth of relationship is created, meaningful yes is created in the second half. And that's what we're doing here, to explore what all that looks and seems like, because I discovered long ago that people have immense challenges in moving from hello to yes with people, and hello to yes is what drives the world. So I'll stop first or drop in first with Lucas. I know this is new for you. Does that sound relatively clear, Lucas?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Awesome. Okay, David, are you ready to go?
Yeah, all set.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna since Lucas is a little bit less familiar, I'm gonna let him select. I have a 1 or a 2, Lucas, under the table. What do you think it is?
2.
It is a 2. So that allows you to either go first or second in the first round. And you can, if you go first, you retain choice in the second round. So would you like to go first or second in the first round?
I'll go first.
Cool. Okay. And then you get to select who Josh is. Josh could be himself or anybody in the world. You set the scenario.
Josh, you can be yourself.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Now I can really screw it up. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
So Lucas, you'll hear just an alarm go off at about 2 minutes. You'll know you have a minute to go, and then another alarm at 15 seconds, and then we'll wrap it up. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Drop in.
Awesome. Dropping in. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Amazing. How are you?
I'm awesome. Hey, listen, the reason I'm calling is I'm super passionate about bringing green products to the world. And, you know, I'd really like to have a little conversation with you about green products in your life and, you know, how you interact with that. So, you know, what do you have going on in your life that's green, that's really interacting with what's going on in the world today?
I wish I could tell you more, but I'm not as conscious as I should be. In fact, I hear the word green and I'm thinking about food and vegetables. So, you know, I'm totally into what I can do better. I know that I need to recycle, and I know, you know, but if you can help educate me, I'm in. I want to save the planet and do better.
Dude, that's awesome. You know,
All
we
right.
all have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So what does green mean to you? You said you talk, you know, you talk a little to food, a little bit to recycling. What else does green mean to you?
Tesla and that stock, and I can't get it right, and I keep buying it and missing it and doing it. I think that I'm thinking green there. You know, that movie, what was Al Gore's movie? Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for the premiere of that many years ago, so it was pretty shocking. You know, I felt a little dumb that I didn't know what was going on in our world. I think green also means clean water to me, and all the problems that the people are having with the water. I'm a movie guy, so there was another movie, and at the end of it, they said, "Well, you really want to make a difference or invest in something, and we're going to have water wars, you know, in the next generation of people." So Tesla, water, movies, food. That's what green means to me.
That's awesome. You know, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the water and the water wars, but you're right. I've been hearing about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about how green impacts me.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all.
I grew up in the really truly grew up in the backwoods, and I've always been what you might call a tree hugger, even though I have a very corporate presence these days. And so the earth to me is a living, breathing being that we have a part in, right? That our presence on the earth is, I would look at it more as like an invitation and something that we maybe maintain through permission, not necessarily through force. Yeah, that's how it touches me. Do you mind me asking? Does that resonate at all with you?
I mean, I get what you're saying, you know, that we have to be responsible and respectful of the planet, and I think that's right. It made me think of I have several kids. One when they're in fifth grade, they go to school in Malibu and they take this cool trip to Yosemite, you know, 40 fifth graders, and we walk around the woods, and there was an old tour guide, and he had a lot of the themes that you have, you know, that this was a gift and we need to take care of it, and taught us about how to sort of notice what the environment was providing us, you know, fresh air, keep it clean, here's how you can eat. So I think your analogy made me think of this cool old guy.
Yeah, 15 seconds. You have a phone call in about 15 seconds, Josh.
Cool. I got a phone call in about 15 seconds, Lucas.
Okay, awesome. Listen, I really enjoyed talking to you about this a little bit, and it sounds like it's touching a little bit, but I feel like we could probably explore this a little bit more.
Yeah, man.
I think.
I'm in. Why don't we you know, call me later. I'm sorry, I have to get on the phone.
Understood. Thanks, Josh.
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
All right. Good stuff. Lucas, how did that feel for you?
You know, in retrospect, I came on a lot stronger towards, let's say, the thing I'm trying to sell. By the way, I don't sell anything green, but that is something that's passionate. That was absolutely true. And I think I came in a lot stronger to that, and I didn't go direct to a personal connection.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we'll share more about that. So, hey, let's drop in for starters with Mike.
Yeah, I thought you were really warm off the top, and a couple of times you asked further questions like, what does green mean to you? But I think Josh expressed a lack of knowledge around Tesla and the water, and you could have got more like what we call your pain to yes out of, hey, how's that affecting you, not knowing about what's going on with that? Maybe more questions that way. But then when you asked him, does that resonate? I thought that was a great question. How does that resonate with you? And so basically the best part about it was you got him talking so much about himself. I'm going to give you an 8.5. It's very good, Lucas.
Okay. And Brian, what do you have?
So I also really liked the question asking and the way that you were able to really get the conversation rolling, and it felt like you were definitely making a connection on some shared values. And I think that was really important. The thing that I would say you should look at to improve on is modulating tone of voice. You have a lower register voice. It can be very monotone very easily. Get more passionate about what you're talking about. When you're talking about the stuff that you love about, going green and just getting that energy into your voice, like that transfers that energy from you to the other person, and it's going to help get them excited, and you're going to help transport them emotionally when you start letting it show more in you.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about the sequencing of those dynamics. But I think Dr. Chevalier must be dealing with White House issues right now. If he's not here.
You know what? He's actually here in the house, and I could introduce him, but I'm not sure that he caught this last round, but I could introduce him as he finds his way on camera.
Yes, let's just quick intro, and then we'll bounce over to David. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Chevalier is an international lecturer, author, researcher, teacher, and practitioner working in the US, Japan, and Europe. He has been published in multiple peer-reviewed scientific journals. Perfect person to judge this last one. Dr. Chevalier's research, some of which includes concussions, PTSD, depression, pain management, and diabetes. He has provided functional medicine services to the White House for 19 years and counting. He has held positions of functional medicine practitioner and advisor for key White House and Executive Office of the President's staff for 3 administrations. Dr. Chevalier has served under George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and now President Donald Trump. He taught medical doctors from all branches of the Department of Defense at Andrews Air Force Base in 2015. He's also been given a few accolades here, like Honorary Global Changemaker of the Year Award and World Civility Award. So welcome, Dr. Antoine Chevalier.
Dr. Chevalier, pleasure to connect again. How are you?
He is still not on camera.
Interesting. We're having a little bit of technical. We'll bounce back there. But David, are you ready for your first round?
Ready to rock, yeah.
Would you like Josh to be himself or somebody else?
Josh can be himself. Perfect.
All right, drop in. Thank you.
Joshua, great to connect with you today. How you doing?
Great, man. You?
Super, super. I heard the left coast. I see the LA Dodgers hat. Are you a big fan out there?
Yeah, I am. I grew up in upstate New York. I guess I was Yankees, but when you come out to LA, they've been doing pretty good. So yeah, fan, totally. No baseball now, though.
Yeah, it's a sad state. Hopefully it comes back soon. I just want to be diligent of your schedule and time. How much time do you have for our conversation right now?
Whatever you need. Let's roll.
All right. Well, I've heard a little bit about you. You're big man up to big things, and so I'm curious because I've got a lot going on. Like, what is your bigger game? What are you up to in the world these days?
I think the distribution of content over digital video networks, primarily positive content, motivational, aspirational, inspirational. I think that the world's a little upside down right now and can use positive content.
Yeah, it is some challenging times. How are you approaching that? What are some of the avenues? I mean, it's a difficult question to ask. Like, what is the right route? Are there some things you're pursuing?
Yeah, just partner with the biggest and the best in the world, and usually that's a good place to start. I've been in this media, sports, and entertainment. It goes with any industry, and just find the best people you can find, and get them on side. So for sure.
And has that been easy, or what challenges have you been coming across in the current environment?
It's easier to connect with people. I think my world's more of a who you know than a what you know. It's harder to adapt and pivot to all of us doing stuff over digital video, right? So we got to have products that are already completed, Otherwise, all we can do is sort of talk about what we want to do.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure, because our business was in person and now we're digital. So we've had to make some similar shifts around that. Anything that's working,
Right
not working in the shifts, like you're managing a lot of businesses, right? How many businesses are you looking over right now?
Enough to what we're really doing right now is it's like you're driving down the road and everything's fine and the car clunked out, and even if you're a handy guy, you opened up the hood and you're like, how does this work? So I would say on the left hand, you're spending a lot of time realizing the inefficiencies of business that we're operating, many of which are shut down. Obviously, our live events business is shut down. And on the right-hand side, everything seems to be difficult, whether it's getting on a phone call or accessing support or, finding people to just follow through with simple things. It's just keeping a little patience. I like things to work, and it hasn't been that easy.
Yeah, it used to be in lockstep, right in line, and now there's just those challenges, complications around seamless communication and interaction. Has that occurred?
Josh got to grab the call in about 10 seconds, but he'll bounce back.
Okay. Hey, man, I got to jump on a quick call. Can we get on the phone in a little bit?
Yeah, sounds great. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Okay.
Awesome, brother. Okay. So, David, how was that encounter for you?
Great. I was asking a bunch of questions that probably could have hit on some maybe pain points or uncovered a little bit more in terms of rapport and connectivity.
Awesome. Okay. So let's start with Mike.
Yeah, I thought you did a great job just constantly asking more questions to find out what was going on. An area for improvement, I think your energy could have been taken up to be a slight tick above Josh's, and you would have brought him up towards the end of, hey, here's my solution, let's talk again in the future. But overall, the questions were great, so I give you a 9.
Nice. Brian?
I thought you definitely recognized things that Josh values. You're talking about the Dodgers and you got him talking a little bit about that. He's talked a little bit about being from New York, and he kind of opened up some avenues of things that he was interested in. So I thought it was really good the way you got him started on talking about who he was to open up to you. I would have liked to seen a little bit more follow up on that, because in him responding and saying, oh yeah, from New York, and him talking about, oh yeah, these are some of the challenges I have in business, he was telling you what he wanted to really talk about, whether he realized it or not. That was the stuff he was really interested in and wanted to share with you. Just a little bit of probing, and you would have had him talking a lot more about that, and that would have really developed that rapport very solidly, because he would have been thinking, oh, this guy gets me, this guy understands me, it's great. I think I give it a solid 8.
Yeah, great work. And I think too, Josh's background is extraordinary, and the people like he's talking to. So, knowing that background, a fun access point, a meaningful access point, and it's never, sometimes when I read content in the space of sales, like how to win friends and influence people, classic, of course. However, it's like an undercurrent of like manipulative dynamic, like intention is everything. So if we're communicating with somebody like Josh, an interesting jump-in point, like, dude, you tried to buy Sports Illustrated, like with Tony Robbins, how did that even happen? Like what is that? I didn't understand. Like, how does something like that come together? Or if you're in a space where you do understand because you've done big deals, but dude, cool deal. Like how'd you end up like in the middle of all this? Like, wow. And content, success resources, so just an acknowledgement of what somebody's up to in the world, authentically from where you sit. If you put together, one of my buddies worked on the biggest merger M&A deal in the history of at the time, in the history of America. It was a Verizon deal. So he might not be like, oh my God. He might be like, wow, cool. I've worked on some huge deals too. How'd you come in the middle of that? So whatever's authentic, from your point of view about where somebody is, and then dropping in was a quick access point for me. Does that resonate, David, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. In my mind, I was thinking of access points, and then you get caught in the moment, and some of that wasn't as fluid as I would have liked it, but absolutely.
Yeah, and I think what it does, and why, 'cause sometimes it's not just like what you do, it's how you do it and why you do it, right? So I think the why you do it is to ensure that the person you're communicating with, that they realize that your listening, our listening, is contextualized, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I know who you are. I like know what you're up to in the world. Like I'm acknowledging that, and my listening is sharp, and I think that shifts how people show up in a conversation. Many like points that change the dynamic of interaction, but that's a huge opener. So yeah, amazing. Josh, how did those encounters feel for you?
Awesome. Great guy. Appreciate the questions. I'm sort of, this thankfully is not my first one, so I'm getting better at understanding the format, and I'm excited to see what happens next,
Super
Yeah.
cool. All right, awesome. Thank you. So just check in, we have a technical
Sean,
phone.
just so you know, Dr. Chevalier is with us now.
Okay, Dr. Chevalier, how are you?
Good, thank you. And you, how are you?
I'm great. So I'll just like acknowledge you the way I just shared about Josh. How the heck do you end up working under 3 administrations as a White House physician? Like, I'm not looking for any insider information, but how does one come to that position and then last that long? Since it seems like everybody gets fired every 8 days in Washington these days. So how does one like get there in the first place and stay there?
Well, so first of all, I'm not a physician. I'm a naturopathic doctor, so I have that's a big distinction there. So I'm a functional medicine practitioner with 2 PhDs. I'm doing a third one. I've been hired before 9/11, so it was like July 2001, and that was like a totally different time. Things were not like today, unfortunately. So and I'm good at what I do, and I'm extremely passionate about what I do, and I always come up with new protocols to deliver a better service. And so they had no reason to basically depart from me, and so they keep I keep them very, very happy. And now I'm turning into pretty much one of the world authority on concussion and PTSD, drug addiction, chronic pain, and major I would say almost generational problems. We actually come up with real solutions. So, and the nonprofit is really, really bipartisan, and I'm non-political. The nonprofit is focusing on treating for free suicidal, PTSD, drug addict, homeless veterans. So that carries a lot of bipartisan support. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
So with your bipartisanness, maybe you could solve some of the big problems in the world. Half kidding, but half serious. So beautiful job, Doc, and welcome. So we'll let you drop in
Thank you.
Scoring and feedback in the next roundup. Now, by the way, we have our influence offs coming. So the idea is the person with the highest scores out of the real raws that we do each day, it has the opportunity, not required to advance into the influence offs, where folks can compete in fun and positive energy for being the influencer of 2020. And so that process is being finalized to advance, but the folks that do get the highest scores have that opportunity. So I dropped that in as a footnote. So that said, Lucas, you chose to go first in the first round. That means you retain choice in the second round. So what are your thoughts, first or second in round 2?
I think I'd like to go first again.
Awesome. So you have 3 minutes. Now in this round, judges, we're looking for, there's something put it in play by Lucas in round 1. It had to do with the environment and the world. And now in round 2, the question becomes where do you take that from here into a yes of some sort? That's the game. So take us in.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, how are you?
Phone with you again.
Me too. Thank you.
Do you remember our call?
I sure do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm excited to dig in a little bit more on this. Here's what's really exciting to me about you. You have a lot of exposure to the world. You have a couple of really incredible businesses, and you have access to amazing knowledge. And so what's exciting to me about this is that maybe being a little bit less educated in the green space, you can help me personally understand a little bit better what it is in the world today that people aren't connecting in terms of an interest and getting knowledgeable, getting educated on being a global member of, Earth. If you don't mind me asking, can we walk down the path a little bit together of where you are in terms of moving forward with getting some education on the green space and, being a member of Earth?
I'm a super strong C student, so not very far down the educational path. But I tend to find that it's easier for me to watch things than it is to read voluminous amounts of information. So completely open to it, but need some help understanding where I'd be going and what I'd be looking for.
Yeah, I get that. Just out of curiosity, when you approach a new business venture, how is it that you decide whether or not it's worth going down that path?
Most teams revolve around the players on the team. So I would say it's heavily weighted towards the management and the people. And generally speaking, I try to it's a hard thing. I'm always telling myself, be quiet, just listen. But I try to listen to people. And, some people really have a clear vision of what they want to do. And it's okay if they don't, but you just try to find people that, have the right mindset and hopefully some idea of where they're going. And then the other part of looking at any business is the numbers. And I'm like an idiot savant at arithmetic. I'm not an idiot savant at calculus, right? So, people say things and then I'm like, didn't you just say something different? And then I think the last trick is, when you don't understand something, you ask a question. So I don't really understand that much about the green space, so if someone starts talking to me about it, then I'd say, those are a lot of good words put together. What'd you just say to me?
I get that. I totally understand. I'm good with arithmetic too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But you do understand a little bit, right? You brought to me the water wars, and you understand that there should be some recycling going on.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
If you were to move forward with recycling, what would the next step be beyond that for you?
Get a new garbage can. Whole family's talking about it. We're deep in our research. Can't believe there's a good invention. Someone come up with a great garbage can for under $100-something. When did this happen?
Yeah, what's going on with pricing?
Lucas, got 10 seconds to go.
So, Josh, I've got something coming up, and I got to hop off the phone. I'm wondering, just out of curiosity, what would it take between you and me for you to take this to something that you'd be interested in investing in at a business level?
A business plan, an offering, some idea of what the deal is, both in terms of, what is an investment? You want my time, my relationships, my money, all three, and what do I get in return? But that's business guy talk. I'm happy to help you any way you want, but generally speaking, that's how you look at an investment.
Right. Awesome job, guys.
Thanks.
So, Lucas, thoughts on that encounter, and just I know you're in a space and you've never been there. How do you approach some of the deals that you've constructed? So that was an awesome, beautiful questions with Josh. But if you're going to give any insight into the world of how Lucas constructs, seeks, does what you do, what would you share?
If I were critiquing me, I'd probably say you got a yes to move to the next step, but it wasn't an emphatic yes.
Got it.
And I'd probably say looking for an emphatic yes requires the same advice that Mike gave me, that I didn't make that emotional connection. And Josh is exactly right, that the next step actually has to be somewhat fully formed. And you're right, Sean, that I didn't have a fully formed idea, and this was fun for me. I really enjoyed playing this, but I didn't come to the table with a fully formed idea, and Josh's feedback is 100% on.
Yeah, cool. But so just Lucas, for fun, what are you up to in the world now? So what is currently, I hear the green space, but what currently occupies your time and energy on a daily basis?
Yeah. I spend about 50% of my time as a consultant for major brands. The Pokemon Company is actually one of the brands that I work with. They're a great example. The reason I bring them up is because they love to be super focused on driving their brand value. And my value proposition to anyone who hires me is, you do what you do and I will execute your ideas. And that's why we work so well together, because they like to stay focused on their brand. They still have ideas that need execution, but they don't want to be good at executing ideas.
And why, like, what intrigues you, compels you, drives you in this space? Like, if you have it all go your way, like, where does this all get to?
So I really enjoy solving complex problems, and execution of any kind of business idea, as all of us on this call know well, is solving an incredibly complex problem. That's what brought me into mergers and acquisitions on Wall Street for so long, and that's what I've looked for in the consulting business that I run now, after having left Wall Street. Just solving these complex business problems. It's exciting. It's fun. It is what drives me on the business side.
Very cool. And like final on this, what kind of complex problems you're looking to solve right now? I know you're looking for, complex problems. Is it in the space of green, or like, what is it that's mattering most to you?
Yeah. So like I said, 50% of what I do, I do as a consulting for these big, strong brands where they bring the problem to the table and I just solve it. And the other 50% of my time I spend working on solutions to complex problems that somebody's not paying me for. So I'm investing my time and my expertise into building solutions to problems that I see in the world. And the green space is one of those places that I'm playing in.
Oh, amazing, man. Thank you for being somebody on this planet, to be an influencer that's making the world a greater place. So that's really impressive.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so just, for fun, obviously we're in the formula a little bit there, but authentically, your engagement level seemed to increase a bit. Like, how did you feel that our encounter, like, how would you critique the encounter we just had?
Is that to me or?
Yeah, to you, Lucas. Yeah.
Yeah, I really worked on increasing my engagement level, changing my voice modulation, because Brian's feedback the last time was on sort of bringing your voice up and bringing it down a little bit to bring the energy into the conversation. One of the things I really liked about his feedback was, we're not in person, right? And everybody today is not in person. So, Josh can actually see my face, but pretend that he can't. I'm on the phone and he can't see my face. He might be able to hear that I'm smiling, but that's it, which means all other energy that's in the conversation, I have to create through voice. And so I really tried to connect with that.
Yeah. And I would say that your energy has risen, like, all the way through. And another unique distinction that we talk about often is just being in your body. If we're head-to-head communication, challenging, heart-to-heart, accelerant, but it's like, how do you do that? And I would say the engagement of our body, it doesn't have to be wild gesturing, but just feeling connected inside of our body creates a lot of emotional, energetic transference. So just as a quick, unique distinction. And I share this humbly, completely aware of your incredible amount of success, for sure. But we're here to, like, hey, how can we unlock a little piece for each other? Because you're up to solving huge problems in the world. And it's clear that clear to me, that a lot of times people, like, don't realize who one another are. We have these, like, brief interactions, and it could be lost on somebody that could utilize, like, merge ecosystems with you to create massive acceleration in solving a huge problem. And they may just, like, not realize who you are, bumping into you at a fundraiser or a charitable event. So what that mini dynamic of making sure we deepen rapport, open listening through a sequencing, put something at stake, and then heroically share who we are, like, with integrity, because your background is crazy. So a couple 2 cents from me. How does that land for you?
Thank you so much. I really feel it, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So Brian, any thoughts? Actually, before we do that, let's not go one at a time. Let's actually complete, and then we'll drop in with Lucas and David. So David, are you ready for round 2?
I sure am.
So take us in.
All right. Joshua, dropping right in and taking a page out of Sean Callaghan's book. How did a guy from upstate New York make his way out to the West Coast? Not only make his way, but really make it in creating all the businesses that you are currently navigating?
Great question. I'm super into sports. I played soccer in college. I had a training camp at UCLA while I was in college. I didn't go to UCLA. They pulled a bunch of kids, and a girl I grew up with, her older sister worked on Entertainment Tonight. So got a job there, got a job at a talent agency called CAA, worked for the principals, and figured it out from there.
One thing led to another, and you built a little bit of a behemoth on your side. I'm a sports guy too. I grew up playing ice hockey. I actually tried soccer one time, but I was throwing too much shoulders because of my nature from the hockey game.
Well, then you didn't have a good ref, eh? I sold the Buffalo Sabres out of bankruptcy when I was 30 years old.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, man. I'm from Buffalo.
I have an annual trip up to Buffalo with all my friends that I played hockey with. Love the Sabres.
Great.
Yeah.
We suck right now, but it's very nice to have you, and you'll let me know the next time you go.
The best fans in the world, though, I would claim.
Thanks, man. We're pretty passionate. Yeah.
I was reflecting on our past conversation, and I didn't really share a little bit about who I am and what I do in the world. So would it be useful if I just shared a little bit about that? Because there might be some further connectivity.
Yeah, please.
At a very quick clip, I was a shy kid who really was challenged in the corporate world, communicating effectively and really building that skill set. Did a lot of work on myself. And what I do now is I actually work in the training and development space around effective communication for corporations and for their employees. And so as I was thinking about what we spoke about, you mentioned the flow of information and some of the challenges with the new times. What we've been really able to do with companies is create solutions and train their people to communicate a little more seamlessly. So why do I share that? Because I just wanted to see if it might not be for you, but I know you have a lot of organizations. I'm wondering if it would be interesting to you to hear a little bit more about what we do and the differences we make with some corporations like yourself.
Sure, yeah.
So what, would it be useful for me to share that? Or, I think what a good idea would be is if it's with you or with somebody who's really keyed into your organization to have maybe a longer, more dynamic conversation in the near future. Would that make sense?
You're welcome to do that. I'm from the movie business, kid. So you're talking to the head of the studio. Give me the one-liner and how it's going to help everybody.
Well, it depends on where your pain points are inside the organization. If you have individuals who need communication training, whether it's pitching or delivering, we can work on that. And organizationally, we can do broader influence, communication, persuasion training that would be useful for teams and also clients. If you have clients we could support, that would be something that's broader as well. So out of all of that, what would be most prominent for you?
Let me just understand what you said. 1, you help people with sales. 2, you help people build teams. And 3, you help people with clients. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
And is it in video or no?
We do both. I mean, in these days, we've navigated everything to Zoom or otherwise. Whatever flavor you guys use, we can adapt to.
So they're not video courses that you watch. They're video meetings that you put together.
Yeah, ideally, these are small one-on-one or group sessions where there's a lot more connectivity and development exercises based like that.
Cool. And, sounds like something that everybody could use. How do you measure the results?
Well, it's on a lot of feedback level, but we can provide you with ways that sales teams have evolved their particular numbers, and more importantly, how they show up inside of their executive presence, their meetings, and their ability to connect with people.
Okay. I mean, it sounds great.
So would it be useful to maybe send you across some things and follow up with a meeting or a broader conversation?
Whatever you want.
All right. Well, what's the best time to get a busy man's time on the calendar?
You just send me an email and tell me when you want to do it, or tell me right now what's next and how much time you need.
All right. Well, I think a good half hour to an hour just to share a little bit more in depth what we could do and actually discover with you where your real pain points are and where we can make a difference, if that works.
Excellent job.
Sure, yeah.
Excellent work. David, how was that encounter for you?
It's good. I did a live today about performance versus contribution. I toggle those, whether it's like trying to be a great salesperson and connector versus actually really connecting. And I felt like I was somewhere in between.
Very good. So let's drop in. Dr. Chevalier, what say you? Let's start with Lucas and then we'll go back to David. So what do you have?
I think we might have lost him.
We did. Okay. All kinds of interesting technical challenges. We'll be back with Doc in the near future. What do you got, Brian?
So let me start with Lucas. I definitely felt the emotional connection much more in the second round. You were definitely modulating your voice more, and I felt like you were really kind of starting to develop that relationship. What I felt was something that needs to be improved upon is having a clear vision for what you want to do with this person that you're speaking with, how you want to serve them, what you're offering to them, or what you are looking to get from them. I know that you were kind of playing it off the cuff with the green stuff, but there was definitely a little bit of a shortfall there on that solid and constant idea of here's what I'm wanting to get. But definitely an improvement. I'd say 8.5 easy. For David, incredible development of rapport building and connecting with Josh on who he was and finding that common ground. It was beautifully done. The area where things started to stumble was where you started trying to get a yes from him, but you were putting the responsibility of taking action on him as opposed to saying, let me do this, is that okay? Let me set up a meeting for you on Wednesday. Will that work for you? And taking more of an assertive approach and giving him the answer to easily say yes to would, I think, have made that much smoother. And he would have been like, yeah, sure, let's do that, which is exactly what he ended up indicating that he was wanting from you. So I would just say be more assertive on that and say, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. At least in this situation, that was what I think would have been better. But I think also 8.5, just really good job, guys.
Yeah. And I felt that feedback when Josh said, hey, I'm the head of the studio. Like, here I am. I need one sentence, like what it is. I would have been in that format. I would have said, boom, like here it is. If that's what the head of the studio is asking for, and this is like the moment, like bang, ready to go, deliver. So thank you, Brian. And what do you got, Mike?
Hey, yeah, so I had the same feedback as Brian for Lucas. I didn't know what you wanted to ask him for. And so it felt like you were getting lost in the something to do with green, but we don't really know. But you definitely were better than the first time. Like your emotion was better. And I felt like Joshua was this business guy giving you all the keys to the kingdom. Like, I need to build both people, math, numbers. He's like, pitch me. What do you want me to do? But then you weren't sure what you wanted him to do. So I think that was the only downside, was just a little bit more clarity. So maybe with your other business, if you'd used that persona, you would have been a little bit easier. But I'll get 8.5, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And for, sorry, Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. There you go.
Oh, so for David, a couple of points. It was great where you connected with Josh on where he grew up, how he got involved in his businesses, the Buffalo Sabres. But I noticed each time you connected with him, you told a story about yourself. So you built a little bit of rapport, but if you had asked him a further question about why that mattered to him, I think you would have solidified the rapport that you then lost at your yes point. Maybe you would have gotten deeper into connecting with him, and then just ask him for something more specific at the end in terms of timing, right? Just go for it, like Wednesday at 3. So, but that was still really good though, 8.5 as well,
yeah. And nobody ever says anything for no reason. So Josh said, I sold the Buffalo Sabres out of bankruptcy at the age of 30. What that means to me is that meant a lot to Josh, as it should. That's a crazy scenario. So I go, wait, you sold the Buffalo Sabres out of bankruptcy at 30? Like, how'd that happen? So Josh, I'll ask, how did that, like, legitimately, how did that happen? That at 30, you were in a position to sell an NHL hockey team out of bankruptcy?
The team was owned by a family in the old days, as hockey fans will know. The arenas were configured a little different, and the owners and friends sort of sat right behind the bench. I went to my first game, evidently, when I was 6 days old. We had the tickets right behind the bench. In their little section was the owners, their family friends of ours. The owners, the Knox family sold it to Adelphia. It was a cable company. Adelphia went bankrupt, and the mayor and the county executive of the city called my mother and said, doesn't he do something in sports and entertainment? And with a little bit of hustle and no idea that no one was going to tell me no, I decided that I was going to buy the Buffalo Sabres. So I ended up in the commissioner of the NHL's office and had a chance to sort of, so we got some hockey guys on the phone. So he's bobbling his head around, and there's a sort of, the Sabres only have gone to the Stanley Cup once, and they kicked Brett Hull kicked the ball, the puck in. And so it's no goal. So I sat down and I said, no goal. And he said, what'd you say to me? Him and all of his lawyers. I'm like, no goal. And he's like, we're all passionate about the Buffalo Sabres. He's like, what are you doing here? And, you know, and this is good coaching. This is not fair for you guys. And maybe I run at a different pace and that annoys people. I think Sean runs at a similar pace. But when you start to really get rolling in your life, it's not that you don't care about the people. It's more like, give me it. Tell me how can I help you? What can I do for you? How am I going to make money? Right. So he says to me, what are you doing here? And I said, listen, man, your team's bankrupt. Your league's locked out. It's worthless. It's worth less than zero. Not happy with me. And I'm like, but in our town, you know, if you buy this bankrupt team, it's the content that runs through the arena, the radio station, and the cable network. And I think someone should buy the team because the cable network's worth 5 times the team. And he looked at all these lawyers and he's like, none of you thought of this? So then he said, hey, you know, if I was a young entrepreneur that ended up in the commissioner of the NHL's office, I'd figure out how to do this. And I'm like, where I'm from, I don't want any part of that, okay? I just came here to help out. I'd love to do it. I don't have any money. And he says, I call Original Six owner and chairman of our audit committee, Jeremy Jacobs, the owner of the Bruins. I said, you see, that's my friend's dad, and I don't want to get yelled at by my dad. So by my friend's dad. So I wasn't here. You understand? Yeah. Walk downstairs, walk crossing 6th Avenue. There's Jeremy Jacobs on the phone. Hey, Pollock, if you can get the money, you can get the team. I'm like, I have no idea how to. I have a cell phone, dude. I don't even have a business. I don't know how to get. That's how I learned about private equity. So Sean asked me something, Cher, and I'm proud of it, right? And I threw that out there, and I'm sorry to hijack the conversation. Sometimes I do it. So Sean was basically, here's my coaching to both you guys, right? And this is just role play. You gotta, you both know how to connect with someone, right? Why? What are you selling? What do you want? What are you doing? Right? So you both wanted another meeting, you know, so it's cool. This is my hardest thing to do. Once I start talking, I can't stop talking. And once I start talking, everybody wants to hear what I have to say. I am always telling myself, listen, right? So my coaching to both you guys is just get them going, ask them the questions, know where you want to end up, let them talk. 6 minutes, let them talk for 4.5. And be like, you're amazing. Let's talk on Wednesday. Here's what we're going to do. That's your business, your coaching business. And the green stuff, you know, there you got to point these people to information that's going to have them take the next action, right? I gave you a couple movies. I'm a moron. I need a short video with your coaching packages, right? When I said, how does it make money? You know, is it online? Man, you got a lot of competition right now, right? You got the greatest problem of all time. Everything's screwed up in everybody's business, period, end of discussion. And you're saying, I can solve that. But if you end up with the dude like me, not the middle dude, not the first dude, the dude who's like, how much does it cost? When does it start? When are we going to finish, right? You just got to say, this is what it costs and this is what we're going to do. You'll sell a lot more coaching. You'll sell as much coaching as you can contact people. As long as you money back guarantee, here's your solution. And you can always give that guarantee because as soon as you get on the phone with people, you're going to help them.
Awesome.
Love it.
And by the way, Josh, beautiful. Thank you for that amazing contribution. Everybody's present to this. There was one question that unlocked that. It was like, hey, how'd you do that? Right?
There you go. Well
boom.
said.
Yeah. So Josh, great job today.
Thank you, Sean.
Really. And so, Lucas, how was your experience in the Real Raw today?
Am I here?
Yes.
Okay. I love playing on the stage with you guys. This has been really amazing. I've enjoyed getting to drop in. I've enjoyed getting to engage with you guys on a direct get a yes. So it's basically a sale, even though I'm not asking for money. And Josh, you played hard, and that was great. You brought your A game, and you made us work for it, and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, thank you for your vulnerability and for your energy and for your contribution today. And David, how about yourself? How was this for you?
Yeah, same. Incredible experience, incredible feedback. I'm still kicking myself because in a normal, well, what I might say a normal conversation, I would have jumped all over talking about Buffalo and just hearing more about it. And clearly I stepped over that. I think what was in my head was just, I might be attached to the objective, which clearly is just having a powerful conversation. Yeah.
Awesome job. Thank you for being here. Brian, Mike, thank you guys so much. Vivian, Frando, and again, Josh, great job. Thank you to Lorelei for amazing contributions today, as well as David. Hey, everybody, listen, we are all influencers, influencing influencers to merge ecosystems to make the world an even greater place and make some more money, time, and magic along the way. I'm Sean Callaghy. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.